Another Thunder Thursday on News OK Live. I'm Mike Sherman, sports editor of the Oklahoman, hanging out with our Thunder coverage team who joined us through the miracles of modern technology from Memphis, Tennessee, where tonight, Game 3 of the NBA Western Conference quarterfinals between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies goes down. Joining us first, columnist Barry Trammell, and Thunder buddies Darnell Mayberry and Anthony Slater. Of course, Thunder Thursdays are brought to you by the folks at Wheeler Chevrolet. Take that drive down I-40, save yourself some time and money. Guys, before we get with the Thunder, let's talk to the Thunder fans here and title it, "And You Think You Have Problems." The Houston Rockets, with home court advantage, leave Houston for Portland, I guess today, down 0-2. What is going on in James Harden land? Anthony?
And I said Houston was a near lock to get by Portland, so that's not looking great. What's going on is James Harden's shooting very poorly. LaMarcus Aldridge is not shooting poorly. I mean, he's lighting them up. What do you have, like 45, something like that last night? Not missing. So, and then the game one, you had the foul-out situation where the Rockets probably should have won that. Last night they just kind of got outplayed, and it's not looking good. They're going to a place that's going to be tough to win, and they got to win 4 out of the next 5, and 3 of those games are in Portland.
Barry, Anthony talked about LaMarcus Aldridge. The first 2 games sort of looked like some sort of coming out party for LaMarcus Aldridge. We knew he was good, but he looks Elvin Hayes good right now.
Well, he's the breakout star of the playoffs, and it's crazy to talk about LaMarcus Aldridge as a breakout star. You should be an established star, but he's not. He, for whatever reason, he's not been appreciated. He's sort of toiled in anonymity these last several years in Portland. But we've seen when he comes through Oklahoma City, a good portion of the games he's played against the Thunder, he's automatic on that 17-foot jumper that can't be blocked. So Houston's getting a little bit of taste of that. The Blazers are really getting after it, playing some defense on those shooters, not letting Houston have a ton of open threes. And right now, total control of that series.
I want to – we talked about this a little at dinner last night. Kevin Love or LaMarcus Aldridge. I want to get you guys on the record. I know where Barry's at, but Kevin Love or LaMarcus Aldridge?
I'm taking LaMarcus Aldridge because he's a winner. Kevin Love hasn't proven to me that he's a winner yet in the NBA.
Well, I take Aldridge because I think he plays better defense. Love's a fabulous offensive player. They both rebound. Love probably rebounds better, but Aldridge can play some defense. He's even guarded Dwight Howard some in this series, and Kevin Love just doesn't play much defense.
It's a silly question. It's LaMarcus Aldridge easily. It's not even close. One guy hasn't had a 500 season yet. The other guy is the breakaway star of the playoffs. So there's your answer, Darnell. Let's shift to let's stay with the Rockets for a second. Of course, everybody in Oklahoma City we've all turned the page. James Harden and all that, right? Right?
Wrong.
What's the James Harden lesson out of this?
It depends. It depends on how you look at it, because some people are going to look at it and say he is who we thought he was, not a number one, not a true superstar, can't lead his team. Other people might look at it and say that the Blazers are doing a really good job of attacking him on defense and making him use a lot of energy on that end, so he can't be as effective offensively. So, I think he's having a really tough series, and it just depends on how you look at it. I think a lot of people are going to look at it and say, see, James Harden isn't a star. He didn't deserve a max contract. A great regular season player, but can't lead his team to the NBA Finals. So it's going to be an interesting playoff series the rest of the way for James Harden, because I think a part of his legacy is starting to become shaped and molded with what he's doing right now with his own team. And if he can't get his team past the first round, even with Dwight Howard, it's not going to be a good look for James Harden.
Speaking of legacies, there's a guy who's got one established. About a week and a half from now, it appears Kevin Durant's going to be the most valuable player of the NBA. He'll be named as such, probably right here in Oklahoma City. And maybe there's even a playoff game before which he will be honored. Guys, but we've fallen a small rainforest and printed lots of newspaper, lots of newsprint saying that Tony Allen is getting inside of Kevin Durant's psyche, jersey, what have you. In fact, yesterday, one of the columnists from Memphis insinuated that we're writing a little too much about it, then proceeded to write about it. So tell me, as we turn the page to Game 3, what do you see coming out of the Allen-Kevin Durant matchup?
You know what I think is going to happen? I think Allen's going to get in early foul trouble. That's my prediction because they've been working through the media, and I'm sure, as Barry's even mentioned, they might be sending videos to the league about, hey, look at these grabs, look at these little holds off the ball, and this and that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple early whistles on Allen and he's in quick foul trouble. So that's my prediction for tonight.
Well, I think whistles are going to be something you need to very much closely follow. But I think Durant's going to have the typical Durant game against Memphis. I mean, I think he's going to score, but I think Tony Allen's going to make it very difficult on him. And I think the line that Durant had in Game 2, 12 of 28, 35 points, 4 assists, 11 rebounds, 1 turnover. Thunder's going to have to settle for that every night. They will take that every game of this series. Nothing's going to come easy to Kevin Durant against Memphis. The team defense, the individual defense of Tony Allen, it's too good. The Thunder's going to have help from other guys, and the Thunder's going to have to turn around and play the big-time defense on the Grizzlies that the Grizzlies are playing on the Thunder.
The Thunder will take the point numbers and rebound numbers, but 12 of 28, they don't want Kevin Durant shooting 12 of 28. Why he was so good and so effective this year is because within the offense, he can score those 36 points, and he can do it on 17, 18 shots. So they don't want him going 12 of 28.
That's not a terrible percentage, though.
It's not good for Kevin Durant. It's not good for Durant.
I think it's good for Kevin Durant in the playoffs. That's 42%. I don't think Kevin Durant's going to have any 16 of 20. He's not going to have any 16 of 28 games.
He's been doing it all year. That's what makes
but they're not playing. They're not. This is not all year. That's what everybody needs to remember. We have laughed all year. We're in the land of playing the Grizzlies night after night after night, and they don't let people have that kind of success.
12 of 24 would be all right. At 12 of 28, it's too much. It's too many shots for that many points.
Who else is going to take those shots? Darnell Mayberry.
Russell Westbrook. He's going to take some shots. All this talk about him shooting too much is baloney. It's hogwash. Let Russell Westbrook carry you to a victory in this series. You need Russell Westbrook to alleviate some pressure from Kevin Durant. And not just Russell Westbrook. You need Thabo Sefolosha, Kendrick Perkins, Serge Ibaka. You need these guys to step up. That's why I think Kevin Durant's not going to come out and try to take 28 shots tonight. I think he's going to come out and try to be that facilitator that we saw him be with Russell Westbrook out of the lineup this year. I think he's going to come out, try to get his teammates involved, be the playmaker that we know him to be at this point in his career, get 5, 6, 7 assists, make the game easier, make the Grizzlies have to guard everyone else and not just him.
I was waiting for you to say it, Darnell, and you almost did. Something you and I talked about, maybe you guys talked about it on Thunder Buddies, but it's this. If they're having problems getting the ball to Kevin Durant, Tony Allen denying the ball, Anthony outlined this very well in a film study. You can go look at it on News OK right now. But why not this, Darnell? Just have him bring the ball up court.
Same question I asked on the Thunder Buddies podcast. If Tony Allen's hounding him in the half court, ball denial, and really just forcing him out beyond the 3-point line to have to catch the ball and disrupting the entire offense, put the ball in Kevin Durant's hands. Let him bring the ball up the court and orchestrate the offense. Barry, I bounced that off of Barry. I think he said, what if Tony Allen is guarding him the length of the court? Okay, bring Kendrick Perkins or Serge Ibaka up. Let him set a screen and lay out Tony Allen 90 feet away from the basket. There's ways around it. You can free up Kevin Durant and let him orchestrate the offense and make it easier on himself. I think the Thunder's doing a poor job of that. And oh, by the way, Barry, Kevin Durant was 13 of 25 in Game 1. I think he can get free from Tony Allen and really have some success in this series. I don't think Tony Allen is that good of a defender. Even though I think he's the best perimeter defender in the league, I don't think he's that good to make Kevin Durant shoot 42% for an entire series.
Well, Durant shot less than that last year in the playoffs. Last year against Memphis didn't have Westbrook, but of course Westbrook supposedly is an albatross for Durant. I think they need some of the role players to get more shots. Caron Butler needs more shots. I think he had 4 the other night, 1 of 4. Reggie Jackson's got to play better, get more shots. The key is You need better defense so that Tabo doesn't have to play 32 minutes and keep Caron Butler on the bench. Jackson needs to play better defense so he can stay on the court. If Butler and Jackson don't get to play extended minutes, I think your shots are all going to come from Durant, Westbrook, and Ibaka.
And Barry, you alluded to this, the defensive problems which you wrote about today through Russell Westbrook keep Caron Butler off the court. If Russell Westbrook can't guard Mike Conley, then Thabo Sefolosha has to, which means that's one less slot for Caron Butler to slide into. The Thunder's not going small a lot against the Grizzlies. It's a luxury against some teams that they can afford. I don't see the small lineup working so good. So does it, Anthony, how much of it comes down to Barry's column today? Can Russell Westbrook just stay in front of his guy?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just Westbrook, it's all the perimeter guys. But, coming into the series, it was all about you got to contain the big guys. They've contained the big guys. I think they're going to continue to do that because they have good enough defense down there to make Zach Randolph inefficient, to make Marc Gasol not as effective offensively. But because they're putting so much attention down there, now it's, we can't give as much help. The big guys can't give as much help to Westbrook. So he's got to stay in front of Mike Conley, and Reggie Jackson's got to stay in front of a broomstick. He can't even guard Beno Udrih right now, so that's going to be big in game 3.
Darnell, is it as simple as this? Westbrook becoming the defensive player that he can be, that he once was? I suggested to Barry maybe they could just have Mike Conley wear an O.J. Mayo throwback jersey, and Westbrook would think it was UCLA, USC, and he was shutting down Mayo again. Would that work?
I mean, I wouldn't put it all on Russell Westbrook. I mean, it starts with him at the point of attack or point the ball. I think he needs to take more pride in guarding his man. But at the same time, he's got to – where's the help? Where's Serge Ibaka? Where's Kendrick Perkins? When these guards are penetrating and getting into the lane, where's the help side defense coming over and really shutting those guys down and clogging up the paint? So, yes, it starts with Russell Westbrook, but this team defense, I think – is more of a problem than just one or two players. 49.4% shooting for the Grizzlies is way too much. And when you see that shows that there's more than a problem than just one player. I think we can't just put it all on Russell Westbrook.
Barry, you buying the need for help, Barry? You saying that it's a team deal?
I don't ask Ibaka and Perkins to do much on the help side. First of all, Ibaka's doing great help. He's blocking shots as good as he ever has. But those guys are busy. And the strength of this team is Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph. So if you let Courtney Lee drive to the bucket, or if you let Conley do it all night, if those guys start helping, you're going to see Zach Randolph. We saw the game-winning play. Zach Randolph makes the layup off Tony Allen's penetration, and he's the easiest basket of the game, just a little layup. So, boy, that's dangerous. I don't think those guys can help much. Here's the deal. They're not asking the perimeter guys to go down and double team. They're playing those guys man up. They're playing Perkins is going Randolph man with no double team help. So if the big guys are going to play the straight up, then the perimeter guys have got to do their job on the outside.
Joining us now from Oklahoma City, Jenny Carlson. Jenny, we were talking about Westbrook and his defense. We talked about Durant and Tony Allen, but now I want to talk about the temperature of Scott Brooks' seat. The Thunder's 1-1, and there's already this talk, what happens if they lose this series? That's 3 games down the road at a minimum. So where would you put the temperature of Scott Brooks' seat right now?
It's a little bit warm. It's not like he sits down and notices nothing. It's sort of on the, if you got seat warmers in your car and you put them on low, they're there, but it's not terribly hot. I think that's about the temperature of his seat. Listen, I think that's the temperature of his seat because I think there's pressure internally within him, outside to do better, to win a championship. That would be obviously the next step for this franchise. But internally, this is not a franchise that does things reactionary. They don't just pull triggers left and right and fire guys or change things up. So I think if you look at Scott Brooks' track record, 3 years ago, Western Conference Finals 2 years ago, NBA Finals last year, he loses one of the best players on the planet. They still managed to win a series, then get beat by Memphis, who was going to be tough even with Russell Westbrook. And now they're still in the hunt. It's only 1-1. We know this series it's not even close to being over. So I think the seat is warm, but it's not hot. And internally, amongst the higher ups that hire and fire in the franchise, it's definitely not. It's not that warm at all.
Barry, how warm is it?
Oh, I think it's not very warm in terms of danger to be fired. No, I think, like Jackie O said, a lot of self pressure. I think that's where most pressure comes from. I think the clock is ticking on all of us. It's ticking on Durant. It's ticking on Westbrook. It's ticking on everybody. It's ticking on the city. It's ticking on the fans. So I think Scotty feels some pressure to get some things done. But I see no reason. I see no reason to believe that his job would be in any jeopardy, even with a massive collapse.
Darnell, once when we talked before a playoff series, we were talking with people and they were talking about how coaches map out a series. The good ones map out a series well in advance. They know what their counter moves are going to be, and they knew when to unveil stuff. What are we going to see different from Scott Brooks and the Thunder tonight as far as strategy and maybe some X's and O's?
I think the one thing he can do, we talked about Russell Westbrook needing to take more pride in guarding his man, Mike Conley. I think one thing Scott Brooks can do is start the game with Thabo Sefolosha on Mike Conley. We haven't seen that. We've seen that in the past, especially in the Western Conference Finals against the Spurs 2 years ago when he put Thabo on Tony Parker. So I think that is one small move that can change the face of this series. Mike Conley has been just a phenomenal, impactful player in this series with, I think, 16 points, right around 11 assists. I mean, he's controlling the tempo of the game and getting his teammates open shots and good looks and giving them confidence. So I think Thabo Sefolosha has to be on Mike Conley a lot more in this series and maybe even to start the games.
Anthony, you wrote about the end of game offense in Game 2 and talked about some of the causes of that. Still yet, Thunder did shoot right around 50% in the fourth quarter, did get some shots off. However, we did see the stagnation on it. What do you look for different on offense tonight?
Just not, and Scott Brooks even said it today. Shoot around, not they could shoot threes, but not in these pull-up 20 seconds on the shot clock threes. No offense really being run, just kind of dribbling for a while and then pulling up contested. I would assume they're going to kind of try to get away from that. Even Durant post-game admitted that they settled at times. What are they? They're 3-10 this season when they shoot 30 or more threes. So I think that's a big thing. Just better offense. The late game offense wasn't terrible, but they're going to have to get better, cleaner looks. And I think they should use Serge Ibaka more. I mean, I think he had one shot in the fourth quarter in overtime. I mean, that maybe their best offense is one of those premier ball handlers, Durant or Westbrook, on a pick and pop or pick and roll with Serge Ibaka.
We saw that a lot during the season, and not so much in this series. Barry, one of the looks like we're getting a News OK post from Brad Rogers who points out that Memphis had an incredible offensive efficiency in Game 2, and it took them overtime to beat the Thunder. Do you look for another offensive game like that from Memphis, or is that sort of the once in the is this the one suitable for framing the Beno Udrih Memorial Game 2, and will Memphis sort of settle down and calm down and maybe get back to normal in Game 3?
I think Memphis' offensive performance was definitely an outlier. It's not what the Grizzlies typically do. However, the one thing this Thunder season has sort of been marked by is defensive inconsistency, especially since since February 1st or since the All-Star break. So, it's not a given that Memphis is going to come back to earth. The Thunder has had some bad defensive performances, and I thought Game 2 was certainly among those. They've got to get Memphis back down into the low 40s in shooting percentage. They've got to create more turnovers. Memphis has had 6 turnovers in regulation of each of the first 2 games. That's not nearly enough. You got to get Memphis into the 10 or 12. Grizzlies play deliberate, no doubt about it. They take care of the ball, but they're not incredibly athletic. You should, with big athletic perimeter players, which the Thunder has, the Thunder should be able to create some pressure and get more turnovers.
Jenny, something that's sort of gone unnoticed after the last, 7, 8 quarters is the way this series started. The first quarter, exuberance, energy, pressure the Thunder put on. They got up and down the court. They were pressing the passing lanes. Is that possible that the Thunder can get back to that? Because since the first quarter in Oklahoma City, Saturday night, the Thunder just hasn't been all that lively on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is possible. Now, I think Memphis got caught a little bit on their heels, which, is a little bit of a surprise. I didn't expect them to sort of get popped like that early in game one. So I think that first quarter, the Thunder performance was partially about the Thunder, but it was also the Grizzlies not playing as well as they need to. So, even if the Thunder plays like that again, if the Grizzlies play better, you might not see quite the outcome. But clearly, I think the issue that is biggest on this team, and we've talked about it in 100 different ways, is the defense. I mean, people want to talk about offense and struggling to shoot or shot selection. All that takes care of itself if the Thunder plays better defense and gets out in transition. We heard that before the series started from myriad people, that they needed to rebound, they needed to get turnovers, they needed to get out and push the pace, and they were not the pace pushers the other night. They got pushed around into a half-court game, first 3 or 4 possessions of the game. I think we heard the shot clock go off 2 or 3 times. There were no shot clock violations, but the Grizzlies got the shot clock that low. So, to me, it's got to be about defense. If you want to get easier shots, if you don't want to be as much of a jump shooting team, you got to get turnovers, rebounds, stops, and get out and run. That's where the Thunder can really make this series theirs, and I think dominate. If they have more transition, I think they win this series. I think they win this series. It's not easy, but I think they win this series without any doubts about it.
Anthony, can the Thunder get that transition game going when the Grizzlies have clearly dictated that they want to go late in the shot clock, make Thunder play defense for 22 seconds, maybe sometimes as late as 23 seconds, wear them out on the defensive end? That's what I wonder, if the Thunder just even had the legs. That may be why they were settling for jump shots and threes instead of going to the rim. Can the Thunder get back in that running game with the Grizzlies determined to keep it a slow pace?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mentality. Hey, Russell Westbrook gets a rebound, and you know how he is. I mean, it doesn't matter who's back. He can just push it, dribble, go as hard as he can to the rim, and usually he's successful. He's getting a foul, or there's a trailer, maybe Ibaka getting a rebound. You could put pressure on the defense just by having that mentality. We're going to go no matter what. Westbrook's a great rebounder. Durant's a great rebounder. Get those rebounds, get it up, push. Serge Ibaka can run better than any big in this series. I think it's a mentality thing, and I think they're going to have it tonight.
Hey, guys, you're in Memphis. Jenny and I are here in Oklahoma City. Give us a sense for the vibe in the town. Have you picked up anything in your 12, 18 hours in town?
I really haven't. I don't know about you guys.
Towel waving everywhere, huh? No, it's nice weather. There's people out, but I assume it's going to be a rowdy environment just because I've heard that it is, and the arena looks real good with it. They're going to have those yellow towels tonight, but I haven't, there's been nobody on the street come up to me like, hey, what's going on with the Grizzlies or anything like that.
I have met 2 sets of Thunder fans who drove over for the game, so I think there'll be some Thunder voices in the crowd.
Hey, Darnell, let me give you a question from News OK, asking about Memphis's lineup. This is from Darren, who says, how will Oklahoma City adjust when Memphis plays the Conley Udrih, Lee Allen Miller, and Randolph or Gasol lineup? In other words, with one of the bigs, and the Grizzlies played a little smaller for their taste. I guess taking Tayshaun Prince out, bringing Tony Allen in. His point is that lineup seemed to have some success against the Thunder. What do you think of that lineup?
I think if the Grizzlies want to go small, Scotty Brooks should thank Dave Yeager and run him out of the gym. This is a team that's not equipped to go small against the Thunder. If the Thunder goes small and throws out Reggie Jackson, Derek Fisher, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant and Serge Ibaka, that's a lineup that should give the Thunder a lot of success. You got shooters, you got speed, athleticism, and quickness, and they should be able to give the Grizzlies problems. So I'd be shocked if the Thunder doesn't bounce back. They just had a bad game in game two, all the way around. Offensively, defensively, they didn't play well. I think they're going to play much better tonight. I think it's going to be a much more physical game. But if they go small, I expect the Thunder to really be able to take advantage of that.
One more question for the group and then predictions. The question ties into what Darnell just said. The old saying, role players don't travel. Well, Reggie Jackson sure looked like a role player in game two, even in game one. Has not looked like his productive self in this series at all. What should we expect? What can we expect tonight from Reggie Jackson? Jenny, start with you.
Well, I think that's a great question. I really felt like Reggie could potentially be a big difference maker in this series because he has, what I think a lot of teams have trouble with. That's athleticism, speed, length, and the ability to create shots off the dribble. I mean, he's, in the vein of Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant in terms of being able to do those sorts of things. And we have not seen that out of him. And considering last year, when he played such a big role in the playoffs after Westbrook goes down, I really felt like he was going to be pretty darn rock solid. I have to think, sort of like we've talked about with, this is a gut check, this is a pride check, this is an energy check. I mean, surely there are some guys that individually that really holds for them, and I think Reggie's one of those guys. He has to look at this and say, I'm better than this. I can do more than this. I have to do more than this. If he does that, I think we'll see him play well. If he's nonchalant about it and doesn't feel like it's on him to sort of prove himself, then maybe he's just part of the wallpaper again in Game 3.
Anthony, Scott Brooks did not give Reggie Jackson a lot of opportunity in Game 2. Pulled him, in fact, after what appeared to be a defensive lapse, and we did not see him again. What's with Reggie right now?
Well, I agreed with the move with Brooks. I mean, he was getting torched by Beno Udrih. And he wasn't his best skill. I mean, we've talked about all year. He's been pretty poor defensively, but he's on the court because his best skill is on the offensive end. But through 2 games, he's 1 of 10 shooting. He was 0 of 5 last game. That was the first time in any game this season that he didn't make a field goal. So if he's not going to be effective on that end, there's really no reason to have him on the court. I think he'll be all right, though. As Jenny mentioned, he was good in the playoffs last year. He was good in games in Memphis. So I don't think it's necessarily he's shrinking because of the stage. I just think he's struggling a little bit, and he's going to need to turn it around.
Struggling a little bit, Barry. You pointed this out. For all our talk about Tony Allen versus Kevin Durant, it seemed to be the backup point guard matchup and the production that told the tale of Game 2.
Well, that was the big difference in the game. The Thunder has a very effective, very consistent backup point guard. The Grizzlies do not. And yet, the Grizzlies won the backup point guard battle 14-2 in points the other night. So, if Udrih outscores Reggie Jackson by 12 points every game of this series, the Thunder's going to be very hard-pressed to win no matter what Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook do.
Let's go with predictions. Darnell, you first.
I'm going to take the Thunder. I think I know they're a better team. They're the most talented team. They know they had a bad game. I don't think Kevin Durant's going to struggle as much as he did with Tony Allen on him as he did in Game 2. I think Russell Westbrook's going to come out tonight, and I think he's going to show that pride defensively. I think he's going to be able to really do whatever he wants offensively. So I'm going to go with the Thunder.
Anthony, lean in a little closer and tell us who you got.
Thunder. Big. Not really big. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game, and it might matter, how well they execute down the stretch, which has been an issue lately. But I think Russell Westbrook's going to have a big game because of what he's been hearing lately and what happened last game. And I think Durant's going to be more efficient, which is going to be big for the Thunder.
Jenny, a hard act to follow, DJAC, but try. What's your pick?
I'm not coming any closer to the camera, so forget about that. But I'm gonna go with the Grizzlies, and I think the Thunder is going to play better. But I think that it's going to be a matter of a place that the Grizzlies have won 15 straight. They finished the regular season winning 15 straight on their home floor. The Thunder has not done well in Memphis in playoff games, winning only one, and that took triple overtime. I'm just going to play the law of averages and say the Grizzlies win. I think the Thunder is going to split this 2-game set, though, so I'm picking them to win Game 4, but I think tonight the hype at the Grindhouse gets the Grizzlies over the hump.
Barry, can you pick against the Grizzlies in Memphis tonight?
He won't pick the Grizzlies this year.
I can't pick against Memphis tonight. Like Jackie O said, just the history suggests that the Thunder has a very difficult time in the FedEx Forum. So the one thing working for the Thunder is, if we've seen it in these playoffs all over, the team that loses the previous game tends to bounce back pretty quickly. So I think the Thunder will be locked and loaded, and then very well could win, but I'm going to have to see it to see them play well in Memphis.
Thanks, guys. That's all for a special up-close and personal edition of the Thunder Thursday Hangout on News OK Live. But you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere every day at News OK and every morning in the Oklahoman. Again, Thunder Thursdays are sponsored by our good friends at Wheeler Chevrolet. Take that drive down I-40, save yourself some time and money.